Well, hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Just
How
like
are
that,
you?
we're live.
We are live. Or maybe you're watching this afterwards. Maybe we're not live for you.
Oh, that's true. It's
No,
Monday,
it's illusion.
September 16th at 5:01 p.m. Pacific time, 8:01 p.m.
That is
East.
correct.
That's
That
how you
is
know
correct.
for live.
This on September 16th,
Still September
2024.
16th.
It's Cinemaniacs. It's the book club for movies. It's your chance to gather together with friends or family, or maybe people you have no idea who they are, and talk about a movie every week, among other things. But we're here tonight to talk about we're going to talk about a fine film.
Well, James, let's correct something, because if you watched last week, Adam chose Oppenheimer.
That's true. If you did listen or watch last week, you might have been under the impression that this week we were going to talk about Oppenheimer. It's going to be another cinematic giant, just from a little while before Oppenheimer.
Yes, it's Kindergartenheimer.
It is Kindergartenheimer. It's Kinderarten Cop. We're going all the way back to 1990 to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop, which I just think is funny. Is like, go ahead, you tell them you didn't do your homework. It's like, you don't get homework in kindergarten. Who wrote this?
Yeah,
thing?
good point. That's a really
Yeah. So nonetheless, this is our movie tonight. If you've seen this movie, you'd want to join us, and you happen to be watching live, you can actually leave messages in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you're brave enough, you can actually join us on the live stream at EriDanLive.com. So that's your
right there.
Yeah, that's your choice. You can participate with this any way you'd like. We're on the Twitch, the YouTube, Facebook.
We're on Facebook on 3 different channels on Facebook. We're on my personal, my comedy, and the EriDan. But then on YouTube, we're only on the EriDan channel, and on Twitch, we're on the EriDan show.
Okay, so there's lots of options to join in tonight's fun and frivolity, and talk about Kindergarten Cop. We've got some regulars with us. We're ready to bring some people in.
Yeah,
because your mother recommended this. Typically, we would bring in just the person who recommended the movie. But we make an exception when Dan's mother chooses the movie.
She could come on if she wants to.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
EriDan Live, it works for her too.
True.
She has internet.
True, but we're just thrilled that she plays a part.
Yes.
So we we bend the rules a little bit. Well, let's bring in Dave and Scott, and we can hear boom, there they are. Here to
I thought you were going to do we don't do beginnings anymore. That's right.
No, we don't do that anymore. that was last year. That was so last year.
Hello, Scott. There, I did it.
That is totally my intro. I was expecting all the sound effects.
So I realized she was a little delayed due to some confusion, Dan, but did your mom get a chance to get you any thoughts on the film yet?
Yes. Here's what my mom had to say. Just came this hot off the press. It's a very cute movie. I usually don't like Arnold's movies, but this one I really liked. It was fun to watch.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Quick and to the point.
Quick and to the point. Now, I'm assuming everybody with us has seen this before, except for maybe Scott.
It is actually interesting because, but it's entirely plausible based on my opinion of this movie. I could swear I've seen it before, but I don't remember it. And I'll bet if you had me watch it 5 years from now, I would not remember one iota of this movie.
Well, you remember it's now the Tuma.
Yes, but I remember that from clips. I don't remember it from watching the movie.
That is iconic.
It is one of those movies that just comes and goes and leaves behind virtually no trace.
Oh my gosh. It's harmless in that way, in a way.
Oh, it is. We've watched far worse movies than this. It's not a bad movie.
I'm bringing out the Notebook because I definitely had some opinions watching this through. I'm like, I gotta write that down.
It's EriDan CSI. It's Eric brings out the file.
Hold on, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. Let me grab it.
Scott, have you seen this movie, this masterpiece before?
I saw this on AMC somewhere in the mid-2000s.
American Movie Classics.
Yes.
Back when they actually showed movies.
There you go.
And then she reruns of Breaking Bad.
One of the things, and this is the same opinion that I had when we watched years ago when we watched Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines in oh gosh, the name of the movie is going to escape me.
Yeah, Running Scared.
Running Scared, which is there was this period in the 80s, maybe in the 70s, maybe not in the 70s or not, but boy, in the 80s and early 90s, being a cop meant you could be as aggressive as you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And that was celebrated, right? That you were totally, police brutality was totally in vogue.
Well, ironically, one of the movies I will eventually put on the list if someone doesn't beat me to it is Training Day. But that's a bit of a different style of cop over exuberance.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
Yeah, this has all the ingredients. You know, you've got it's supposed to be this person, ends up being that person. You know, fish out of water.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my mom's nailed it on the head. It's a cute movie. It's a fun movie. It's not a cinematic masterpiece by any means.
It's a harmless movie.
The thing is that I've seen these scenes in other later movies, and they've been done much better. Like the kid on the airplane thing. I'm sorry, Arnold, you have no finger on Chris Farley as the Beverly Hills Ninja.
We are talking about an Ivan Reitman film, though.
That is true.
But Reitman is not in my opinion, Reitman is not a great director. He's a good director.
Yeah,
He's a person.
This movie
he has how many favorite of movie, right? I mean,
this direction is so. I almost put director by numbers because this was a cookie cutter movie in so many ways. The scene when Arnold is in front of the classroom and he's saying things, and then they show the reaction of the kids, and then Arnold's saying things, and they show the reaction of the kids, and Arnold says something, and they show. I mean, it is such lazy directing and editing that it just was driving me nuts.
Well, there is a line here in the notes or the trivia. This isn't really trivia, but it says Ivan Reitman invented the 5 Reitman rules of filmmaking for the kids. Listen, act natural, know your character, don't look in the camera, and be disciplined.
Okay.
Easier
That's
said
how we
than
got
done.
Ghostbusters 2.
Bring us Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
I mean,
he cannot be forgiven for that.
He had a run through most of the 80s that was pretty impressive, right?
It really was.
Stripes, Ghostbusters, Twins.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like this movie is actually kind of caught at the wrong time, where we haven't quite entered that edgy 90s era yet, or we can do things you're not supposed to see on TV. Like if this had like the humor level of something like Eddie Murphy's Daddy Daycare, where the kids are doing a bunch of stuff they're not supposed to be doing, but we know that kids do. And you have Arnold literally trying to be like the person dealing with basically the PG-13 stuff instead of the R-rated stuff this time around. Like it probably would have gotten a bit more over for me. And the jokes need to go farther in order for them to be even funnier, and maybe even just a little bit darker for the kind of stuff that we're just used to seeing Arnold in. Like the whole beating up the dad who hit his kid in the back of the head on his back. Like imagine if Arnold actually like beat the crap out of that guy, like Sonny from The Godfather style. And the mom's like, "What are you doing? Wow. Get off of him!" And all the parents are freaking out. And you just cut to Arnold in the office looking down, hunched, and the principal goes, "We know we told you that Tommy suffers from dizziness. He's supposed to take his medication at 10 a.m. So he actually did fall down the stairs. Like, that would have been freaking hilarious.
Scott wants a very dark Kindergarten Cop.
Well, he wants the German version. Yes, Kindergarten Cop.
That's the thing, though. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It'd be like having Liam Neeson as a kindergarten teacher at the time.
Max von Sydow is the principal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is it was filmed in Goonies neighborhood.
Oh.
The school they used was only 1.5 miles, less than 3 minutes away from the Goonies house in Astoria, Oregon.
No.
And all the kids, they paid $35 a day to be extras.
So I felt like they interrupted your notes, Eric. Please. I felt like I interrupted your giving your notes.
No, you're good. Like my goods, I'm just gonna dip in and out of my notes. It's so good.
Okay.
They're not.
Dan has a quota for fun facts.
There's a lot of
He's really
random
going
thoughts
to
in
do
here.
this.
Knight is here in the comments, says the version Scott wants is the film Bad Teacher.
Yes, there we go.
Ah,
That
There
I
you
mean, I
go.
don't want to see Carmen Diaz going after a kindergartner, even if they are played by Justin Timberlake.
Or Carmen Sandiego.
one of the things I did note is that you bring up the whole child abuse. I mean, they for a lighthearted comedy romp,
Right?
they really did
What
hit
the heck?
death, divorce. I mean,
Arnold insisted on that.
he shot the kid's father.
Arnold wanted there to be plot lines about a broken families and child abuse. He wanted, because I think he wanted to make a bit of a statement with this film.
Yeah. Well, he made a statement.
All we were missing was cancer.
Kindergarten Top 2.
All right, who shaved his head?
Another thing that drove me nuts, it's a small thing, but it just made no sense, was, okay, so the principal, I assume she was she knew about the undercover operation. So she was in on it.
Well, she didn't have any details because she asked.
No, she didn't know the details.
Right.
Like she didn't know that Arnold wasn't really the teacher, but she was at least aware that he was an undercover cop in the classroom.
Right. That's
Right.
right. Exactly.
So why didn't she have a picture? If this guy ever comes around,
because
you
they
need to
weren't
call
sharing-
us immediately.
They didn't share any details with her about the case. Right.
But why wouldn't they? It's the kid's safety at stake.
Because because then it would be like a 5-minute movie.
Well, this is very true.
It wasn't in the script.
Well, there's probably about 5 minutes of good stuff in this movie. So
And it also drove the pedantic side of me nuts that they got the Gettysburg Address wrong. It's not fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers. It's fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth. It's not forefathers. They also cut a big chunk out of the middle of it, but I'll give them that for time. But at least get the
Well,
words
also,
right.
they are kindergartners.
Yes, but they all learned it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were reciting it together.
He has a tumor. I mean, give him a break.
Why did he just say 87 years ago?
It's being dramatic. Stretch it out, you know.
So it did remind me of Greece when clearly half the school's budget was for the end of the year fair. What elementary school has a fair on that scale? I mean,
Sherman Oaks.
well, okay then.
And another sort of director's cliche that jumped out at me immediately was the ending of the movie with the freeze frame.
My mom said they needed to keep the forefathers in there incorrectly because they had a joke later about forefathers.
Well, they had a joke right away about forefathers, but it was still that was not a joke worth keeping in.
No, it wasn't worth it.
But they might have purposely rewritten history to try to get a bad joke.
This is true.
Ultimately, the thing about Ivan Reitman is he's an incredible collaborator. He works well with whoever that he works with. The thing is that he usually needs great writers to push him along the way. And this movie had 3 writers somehow. The first guy was basically an extra in a bunch of movies. And then the other 2 wrote Space Jam. So if you think about the integrity of the story, Space
Don't be
Jam.
ripping on Space Jam.
Well,
Space Jam is like the Safeway sprinkle cupcake of movies. It's not meant to be nutritious.
my original name instead of Kindergarten Slop was Kindergarten Script. So, yeah, I do sort of agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And really, maybe my memories of elementary school are skewed by growing up in a sort of conservative rural area. But I don't remember kids making out in elementary school ages.
No.
I did. No.
Well, I mean, those kids looked a little older that were in the closet. Like I'm
They're all 18 to look younger.
Through
Well,
sixth
that
grade.
was Ivan Reitman's son, was the guy making out with the girl.
Jason? That was
Yes.
Jason?
That was Jason Reitman.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow, there's the trivia.
Son, you're
fact.
striking out with all the girls. I think I'm going to write a part for you in my movie.
Okay, thanks, Dad.
Jesus.
Did you catch?
Is that what he got his Golden
Ghostbusters-
Globe for?
Did you catch the Ghostbusters pillows in the little kids' room?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters pillows in his room, and I'm like, all right, there's a little
And I
nod.
realized that the villain was not supposed to be very smart because he's basically like the Godfather if Fredo had been an only child. But he was when he's in the school going, "How do you get out of here?" Maybe look for the giant red exit signs.
No, clearly I'm going to go into this bathroom.
I'm going to go into the locker room. That makes
I can
perfect
exit
sense.
from the locker room, of course.
There's always little windows in locker rooms.
There you go.
And when at the end, near the end there, when Arnold's in the hospital, and they go into the hospital room, and the nurse is feeding him, Margaret just cracked up and went, "He has arms." He just,
His arms were fine, but he needed the nurse to feed him. The end of the movie was where they got as lazy as they could. The fact that she hadn't come to see him in the hospital the entire time. It's like, wait a second. She waited till he got out of the hospital to go see him.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
There was a pandemic.
And
I realized this was actually filmed in an elementary school, but when I was watching this, it did not look like an elementary school. Maybe it was an elementary school that used to be a high school and it got converted, because the locker room, the showers were at adult height. I mean, these kids could not have even reached the controls on these showers.
Dave, don't think too much about that.
The whole thing was just seemed very much like a high school.
Now,
But apparently it was filmed in
Definitely
elementary
felt
school.
like a
Yeah, you walk into elementary school, like everything is like this tall, including
maybe,
the freaking chairs.
maybe it was K through 12. Maybe they all were in one building.
Who was
Well,
held
if
back?
so, then during the fire evacuation, they just decided to leave all the older kids in to burn because none of them were outside the school.
Fine. They went out to the back.
The older kids started the fire.
But it was a silly, fun movie. I don't want to overanalyze it because this is not a movie that stands up.
Yeah,
to
no, we
else.
don't.
Dan's
Well, I
like,
like
we're
to
really
look at
spending 20 minutes talking about Kindergarten Cop.
What I like to look at is what could have been. Like, that's one thing that's always cool in the trivia is who could have been cast. But this is the biggest change. Ron Howard was supposed to direct this. This was an Imagine Entertainment.
Wow.
And when they got Arnold Schwarzenegger, he said he would only work with Ivan Reitman.
Oh, that's it.
Because he loved working
They'd
with
done
him so
stuff
much on
together.
Twins. Yeah.
Now, what I didn't realize that I should have looked this up ahead of time is my good friend Bruce McBroom was the still photographer on this movie.
Oh,
And I'm sure he'd have an amazing story or two to tell. And he was talking about Ivan Reitman the other day, and it was not in a good light.
no.
Dan,
He had a great relationship with him, but people in Hollywood did not.
Dan, you don't understand. The bruise on the kid's back was real.
Probably was.
Christ.
But the actual
Well-
movie poster, most likely Bruce took that picture.
Wow.
Well, and actually, speaking of twins, Danny DeVito was one of the actors considered for the role of Kimball.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that would have
Because
been a wild.
there's some movies with Arnold where you know that they had Arnold in mind from the moment the paper went in the typewriter. They were thinking of him from the very onset. This movie, you look at the people they considered for it. No, they were considering men, women,
Bill
tall,
Murray,
short, all kinds of
Bill Murray and Patrick Swayze are two of the bigger names.
I could have seen Tom Hanks in this.
What about Hulk Hogan?
It's not a tumor.
Gilbert Gottfried.
It's not a tumor.
It's
Very
not a
good.
tumor.
And then I had to blow my whistle.
I'm glad I'm at the end room at the hotel.
You ever beat that kid up again? You don't want to see what happens.
Wow.
Oh, all right. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, Sam Kinison. That would have been. Ah!
Say it.
That's crazy. You all be crazy.
But Arnold's a massive, obviously, in any role he's in,
Yeah.
he's a massive physical presence. And that's why you usually cast him, which is what was a little bit unusual about this. They tried to make use of it and did sometimes effectively. But most of the time when he's in a role, it's because of his imposing figure on screen, whether it's Predator or Terminator or True Lies, or that's one of the main things they cast him for.
So here's the question. Is there an Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy that holds up?
Twins isn't bad.
Twins. This.
You think this holds up?
I think. I mean, I don't think it's horrible.
I
To be
would
honest,
say
though,
I
most
don't
of his
know.
movies, it's sort of like when Mel Brooks. The more Mel Brooks is in a movie, the less good it tends to be. He's a great comedic director, but when he's in the film, it usually goes downhill. And Arnold, the more lines he has, the less good the movie is. So when he's in Terminator and Predator, where he has a handful of lines and can make them count, it works.
Last Action Hero is not bad.
Yes, it is.
so.
Oh,
Arnold
I've
Schwarzenegger
seen
is
it.
basically the Hayden Christensen.
I'd go with
of-
Jingle All the Way. I'd go with.
That's what I was going to
Junior.
say. Yeah.
I'd go with Junior before I went with.
I think his
Oh, I thought
best
Jingle All the
movie,
Way is fine.
not comedy, but I think his best movie where he actually has to act is probably True Lies.
Yeah.
True Lies is pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, absolutely. No, I.
What about
I
Total Recall is not bad. I like Total Recall. That's a fun movie.
What about Batman and Robin?
How about The Running Man?
Oh my God! I just
He's
got
Dr.
triggered.
Freeze? Come
Oh
on,
my God!
everybody.
As Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin.
What killed the
about?
dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Hey, the
Stay
good thing is
cool. Let's kick some ice.
Oh, you're hurting me.
That movie almost killed the Batman franchise, man. That is such a bad movie.
guess how long Twins is, Scott? You'll guess this really quick.
Are
Why
you
am I bringing
kidding?
it up?
Are you kidding me?
An hour 47.
Wow.
There's my 147 for the day.
It's 7 minutes of credits. They said 100 minutes plus credits. Done.
Well, I know what Dan's picking next.
There it is.
I actually do have my movie for the next movie.
That's true. Dan is picking our next movie. So,
Oh,
yeah, how about
And it's
that?
not Oppenheimer.
No,
Yes, it
Oppenheimer
is.
got pushed back 2 weeks.
Yep.
I've never seen any of the Expendables movies.
oh, they're the Transformers of action.
They're
movies.
fine.
Yeah,
They're
they're-
now,
not
you're
good.
selling them. Now you're selling them to me.
If you love action
I do.
and all you care about is noise on screen,
Yes.
they do it effectively.
You want to see Chuck Norris do one Chuck Norris joke, the only one he ever does in his entire career on
I don't need
screen.
Chuck Norris ever. I have no need for Chuck Norris.
All right, then don't
my-
watch the third one. Fourth
My
one.
mom did start Kindergarten 2 and said, wasn't as much fun.
Fair enough.
Well, if you can imagine Kindergarten Cop if somebody else who had less of a screen presence, because despite my criticisms of Arnold's acting at times, he has tremendous screen presence. I mean,
Oh, God.
he just commands the screen when he's on it. Someone with less of that in that role, this movie would be even more just like it would be just disappear from history. kind of
Imagine
thing.
if Schwarzenegger did Kindergarten Cop like RoboCop.
Kindergarten Cop didn't come out until 2016. I think this is an important note. This was not done in the 90s. Kindergarten Cop 2.
Oh, 2.
Not come
Okay.
out-
Yes.
sorry, did
A
not
long
come,
time later,
Why?
did not come out till 2016 with Dolph Lundgren and Bill Bellamy
Yes.
26 years later.
as your stars. Yes. 26 years later, they decided they need a sequel.
Oh boy, directed by the man who did Tremors 1, Tremors 2, Tremors 3.
What does the guy have Parkinson's?
No, he did Scorcher 1, Scorcher 2. Scorcher 3.
No, this is not Michael J. Fox.
Sorry. Sorry, I went there. My brain works.
I also
Or
didn't
doesn't.
buy the chemistry between Arnold and
Oh,
Penelope
Penelope
Ann
Ann
Miller.
Miller? Oh, that was hard to watch.
It was like,
There was really no chemistry between them at all.
Well, and she pretty quickly flipped on her kid, where it's like, you know what, he'll be fine. Let's make out.
Well, she also is like she hears the other room, the kids cheering, so she figures, oh, maybe my boyfriend's back, and she just leaves her classroom.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, come on.
It was the 90s. Come on.
90s, they'll be fine.
Well, it could have been. I talk about who the actors could have been, the male actors. Here are the 3 top females that were being considered.
Oh,
Are you ready?
Jennifer Aniston.
No.
no.
This is 1990. She was too young. Helen Hunt,
Oh,
Sandra Bullock, Julia Roberts.
In 1990.
So basically, every big actress of the day was hopefully every actress that was bigger than Penelope Ann Miller at the time.
No, I did enjoy Pamela Reed as his co-detective. I thought she was actually in a role that wasn't huge, but she brought enough character to it without being crazy quirky. You know, she was just a solid presence.
Yes. No, I enjoyed her. I thought they like 3 minutes of the movie, she's having a sandwich and he's already mocking her for eating so much. They're like,
well, this is not a movie that minded setting stuff up just before they used it for a plot point.
Absolutely.
Like her teaching the kids about stranger danger 5 minutes before they all go, stranger. And the kid climbing the water tower to place his lasers.
That was funny.
Well, it was a good thing they didn't have any security or fencing around the water tower.
No fence. Why would you need a fence?
Fine. It's fine. It's a small town. Nobody's going to get hurt.
And that kid was just such a sad sack the entire movie. He's like, oh, my life's been horrible. Oh.
No, yeah, you're a terrible teacher.
I fear bad guys every moment of every day.
Now, did he go on to do anything? Do we know if that actor,
Dominic? I don't know.
If Dominic ended up in fame and fortune?
Let's see.
Let's see. What do we have here? Christian
Apparently he's still around. Yeah, he did some more. He pretty much stopped working. 2000 was his last role.
He was in Twin Sitters.
Well, Dominic was.
He was on an episode of Empty Nest.
Well, there you go. Critters 3.
It's the Christian twins. Or the Cousins twins.
Oh, wait. I remember Erie, Indiana. That was an odd TV series.
The best sign that a child actor had a really good career is when the Wikipedia page does not have a profile picture.
Well, there's two of them. Did you mention that already?
Yes, there are.
A sign that they had a good career is that it has an adult profile picture, not a picture for when they were kids, because that's the only one anybody would ever recognize.
Yes, but is it them at Comic-Con, which means it was uploaded by a fan?
Yeah. But he was on an episode of Dream On.
Wow. I'm trying to remember. So obviously we all know Arnold, and I reckon Penelope Ann Miller's been in a few things.
I don't know what I know her
and
from.
Catherine Moriarty. I know her from some stuff, but that was about it. It was largely
yeah.
But who forgets, guys, that Linda Hunt, the principal, was
Linda Hunt, of course, yes.
She was the DEI choice to play Grandmother Willow in Pocahontas.
Wow.
She is someone else, though, sort of who just, when she's on screen, you notice her.
Yes. No matter how tall she is.
Yes.
I think she looks like Edna Mode.
She does. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I think her aesthetic is somewhat borrowed from Edith Head and that whole style of, hairstyle and demeanor. Yeah.
This might be Penelope Ann Miller's biggest movie. Looking through, yeah, she did some TV, but usually just one episode at a time. She was in Chaplin.
She was married to Will Arnett for 6 weeks.
No,
she's in the movie Reagan right now, playing Nancy Reagan.
Oh. Pamela Reed. She was Leslie Knope's mom. Parks and Rec.
There you go. Wow. No, I've not really seen anything else that she's in.
She's had a solid career. I mean, she's certainly not a big
she's
star.
Working. She is a working full-time actress.
She's been a working actress for a long time.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is more than most actors get to pull off.
This is true. But I didn't buy their relationship at all.
No. And no. I don't think she has a pop figure. That's the sign of success, She doesn't have a pop figure, so.
Oh, Eric and I have a Funko Pop.
That's true. Almost anybody can. So she might have a personal one.
I am the Pop.
That's right. Exactly.
Dan, did your mom just see this for the first time recently, or is this a movie she just has fond memories of and rewatched recently?
No, it was when she was, I think it was pre-COVID. not pre-COVID, 1990, 2019, before she had COVID. She just messaged me one day and said, I just watched Kindergarten Cop. It was really good and fun. I go, that could be your next movie.
It is a fun movie.
It is.
It might have been right before we got rid of the wheels. So
it's harmless family fun.
harmless. That's
The father
perfect.
getting shot.
To use a phrase I've used on other movies, it achieves what it aspires to be. It is not trying to be a critical darling. It is not trying to be a star vehicle for anybody. It's just trying to be a fun comedy without any real pretense.
And it made a lot of money.
I think it's trying to be an hour-and-a-half PSA for abusive parents, but that's just me.
Well, that was Arnold's. That was part of Arnold's. The two things I read was that Arnold wanted the broken families / domestic abuse aspect. Arnold did not want as much violence as was in it, but Reitman sort of insisted on that because he felt that the comedy wouldn't work without that sort of being around it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Was anybody else disturbed when his partner came in the hospital and kissed him? That's not
That was the best part.
On the lips.
That's not what you do.
Oh my God. I never do all this time.
Pre-COVID.
It's like, wait, what? I'm gonna kiss you. What? He's laid up in the hospital.
Isn't that what police partners do?
Hear the High School Musical music. It's hard to believe that
I do want to mention the music. The music was poor. The music was so, here's how I want you to feel right now.
Yeah,
you know, it was just...
I thought that too. I'm like, oh, the piano heavy score of Sentimental Drip was really extreme.
It was very pandering music that told you how to feel in every scene.
Yes, they saved some money on the music budget.
Well, it is Randy Edelman who did Drop Dead Fred, Angels in the Outfield, The Mask. But he's been nominated for Golden Globes and a BAFTA and 12 BMIs. So,
okay, so you're saying he's done
I mean,
better?
it wasn't bad music. It was just the way it was used in the film was just very
Reitman-y.
Yeah, very Reitman-y. There you go.
There you go. All right. Any final comments here before we move on?
I think that might be a perfect way to segue into the next part.
You think?
I don't know. Do we have a
Do we
segue?
have anything else?
My only regrets is that they did not call the sequel First Grade Cop. They should have done
that. Kindergarten Cop 2 held back a year.
Middle School Cop.
Actually getting a teaching degree. I don't know. You never know. All right. We're going to move on to some recommendations. Yes? Hold on.
my left ear.
But that was longer than the entire.
It's not. It's not longer than the intro.
No. I do like that template
because I cut it short.
It's 11 seconds.
They're both 10 seconds.
One's 10, one's 11.
I cut it short. So they were both 10 seconds. I figure people might need a minute to actually think of their recommendations.
Well, I've got one I just started today.
Oh,
how about this for a fresh
recommendation? So you're recommending something that you've just started watching.
My flight was late leaving this morning by 35 minutes.
Whoa.
And I've seen this clip on TikTok so many times.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch this show. So I put on Max on my phone. And I started watching the Jeff Daniels, Aaron Sorkin TV show known as Newsroom.
Oh,
Newsroom, yes.
It is so freaking good.
It is really good. I started watching it and never finished.
It opens, the opening scene where, he's just being, they call him the Jay Leno of journalism, because he's just like the happy-go-lucky, nobody knows his political views, and he's speaking at a conference, or he's speaking at a college, and a girl asks the three people on the panel, why is America great? And one of them says, well, because of this, the other says that, and he goes, what they said, and then finally he goes, because it isn't. And then he starts going through where this number in education, or this number in this, where we're number one at incarcerated people, amount of money we spend on the military. We spend more than the next 27 countries, and 26 of them are allies. He's going on and on and on. and it's like the aftermath of doing that, and of course people start recording it, and
So sort of like Howard Beale in Network.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah, so Newsroom is my recommendation. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to send it to my son because it's very political, and tell him he should. It's 3 seasons
How
on
many
Max.
seasons? There's
Only did 3 seasons.
That's all they ever did was 3 seasons. Now, were these 22 episodes?
That's a good question. I never looked that up.
Oh, I will never start watching a show unless I know what I'm getting into. I can't commit.
Oh, it was
Have you
called
ever
The
watched The
Newsroom.
Simpsons, Eric?
It is called The Newsroom. And it does look like, yes, there's only 3 seasons,
25
10
episodes.
9 and 6. So only 25 episodes.
Yeah, so basically one season of some shows.
Well, that's kind of the relief.
Jeff Daniels, Emily Mortimer, John Gallagher, Allison Pill, Sam Waterston plays the network president. Then Jane Fonda's in it. Terry Crews is in it.
And
David
Jerry Mathers
Harper.
as the teacher.
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn. She's the Maria Menounos of the Newsroom.
Mary McCormick, BJ Novak.
No respect for Olivia Munn.
Your fascination with Maria Menounos, Eric, has got to end. It's just seeing her every time you go to a movie, right?
Absolutely. That's the only reason we go.
I remember this show being like very much a show of moments. Like when they have Toby from The Office is on as the climate change scientist. And just, if you ever want someone to give really bad news, hire
Toby
Toby
or Ryan?
Henderson. What?
Is it Toby or Ryan?
It's Toby.
Oh, Ryan's in it too.
BJ Novak?
BJ Novak's in it too.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
That's a great recommendation.
It's like, Sorkin, I think of Sports Night the same way. It's got incredibly effective moments. It's not always a consistent show, but it is fascinating to watch.
Same with Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, another Aaron Sorkin.
It's interesting.
Shows
don't usually last long.
It's all about the walk and talk. That's why.
Oh, it's Emily.
I do want to watch The Newsroom.
Yes, The Newsroom. There you go. Mic drop. I'm done.
All right, nicely done. Anybody else have a recommendation they'd like to share?
I saw an old school movie.
Yes.
Old school, I mean 20 years old.
All the way back in 2005.
9/11 just happened. We're still trying to make some good movies. I'm still astonished every time I see this movie. I see something new in it. It's just so incredibly well directed, shot, performed. And it's not going to be the one that anyone expects me to say, but I'm talking about Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, my wife loves that movie.
That movie is
I've
incredible.
never seen that movie.
You should absolutely watch that movie. It is the only movie I will accept a zoom shot from because they make it so natural. Remember how zoom shots got really freaking obnoxious during the Superman era?
Yeah.
But this is like so natural. It builds tension. It feels real. They probably were doing that in TV shows at the time, but it just felt so good.
I get so sick of TV shows more than movies, but TV shows, anytime they want to build drama, they have the real slow zoom.
Yeah. And you're just like, well, we're waiting.
No. We're hoping that it's subtle, that you don't know it's resuming. It's just somehow it builds the tension,
We're just waiting for Shyamalan to jump out and say, what a twist.
He was dead all along.
Where's the Jaws shark?
So you have a pretty good idea what kind of movies I like. Do you really think I would enjoy Pride and Prejudice?
Well,
Me
everyone
specifically.
Everyone in this movie is just as pretty, if not prettier, than Taylor Swift.
Well, that's to be seen. I definitely enjoyed Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh my God!
I don't believe.
Now, Pride and Prejudice does have one of my favorite actors in it, Emma Thompson. She's always good.
Oh yeah, there is not one bad actor in that movie.
That's excellent.
Donald
Yeah.
Sutherland, yeah.
It has almost as much of a loaded cast as the Harry Potter movies.
So my mom says what she's been watching. She started The Handmaid's Tale. She's on season 2, but she said, I don't think I'm going to make it all the way through. It's frightening. Could be our future.
Yeah, there are
I
shows
said,
that you
Mom,
respect.
you're watching
but you don't-
Fox News. Turn the channel.
There are shows you respect, but you're not sure you really want to watch because they're just going to
Right.
be too depressing.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
a really happy show if you turn off the sound and pretend it's Christmas.
Wow. Wow.
Do you feel the same way about slasher films?
Oh, absolutely.
Look at all the red. It must be Christmas.
It's still green. That's okay.
Wow.
That show is really
That's
well
so
directed.
dark. Well, okay, so my recommendation is one you would not expect because
Yes.
it's not super happy and it's not a musical. Streaming
What?
on Max, it's Civil War. I don't know if you've had a chance
Oh,
to watch this.
Yeah, I remember when that came out.
Ooh, ooh, it's dark. It's very well done. About a group of journalists.
Is that with Nick Offerman?
Yes, Nick Offerman is in it. He plays the president.
Yes, that's right.
Country is in the California, Florida, and Texas are all trying to succeed from the union.
Or
War has
secede.
ensued. Journalists are trying to make it to Washington D.C. before the opposing forces make it there. Really brutal. Not a fun feel-good movie, but unbelievably well directed and shot and acted. Riveting. Just really excellent performances on all counts.
This is a Civil War. This is not a Civil War period piece of the actual Civil War.
No,
This is modern day Civil War.
Modern day Civil War.
dystopian future Civil
Yes.
War.
Very, very near future.
Yes.
Is Audrey Plaza the Secretary of State, or is she the press secretary?
No, that's Amy Poehler.
but
I
the cool thing about
told
this
her-
movie is that we finally have the union of Kirsten Dunst and her husband Jesse Plemons on screen.
Yes. And
Jesse-
Kirsten
Jesse-
Dunst.
I like Clemens. He's a good actor.
Fat,
great.
Fat Matt Damon.
Kirsten Dunst is amazingly not Kirsten Dunsty in this movie. Like she is
He was.
in this movie.
Did you see? Probably a couple months ago. What was actually? It was before he went on his summer break, so it was probably late spring. On Jimmy Kimmel, they had Jesse Plemons on, and Guillermo had him in a cage because he had caught Matt Damon trying to sneak into the studio,
Oh, that's funny.
and he had to try to prove that he was not Matt Damon.
He's Fat Damon.
Well, apparently, when he was on Breaking Bad, people referred to him as Meth Damon.
Jeez.
You know, it's the first movie I ever saw him in. It's going to make a lot of sense when I say it. Like Mike.
Oh,
He was the bully in Like Mike.
Wow.
I had no idea.
No,
the first thing I noticed him in, we watched it here a couple years ago, is Game Night.
Ah, yes. That is true. The Game Night is a lot more fun than Civil War.
He and Michael Shannon are two actors that have this very odd stage or screen presence. There's just something just slightly disturbing almost about them when you see them on screen.
Yeah, it's not like a funny edge like Christopher Walken.
No.
It's like,
Yeah, it's just
if
like
Christopher
there's
Walken
something-
didn't do musicals, that's what it's like.
All right,
So
Matt, you got one for us?
I have a show to recommend. Yes, it's I had mentioned it probably 6 months or so ago, and I had 3 or 4, I think 4 episodes I hadn't watched, and I finally was like, oh, I should go back and finish that, which is a show that came out last year. I think it's on Paramount. Poker Face, which is done by Ryan Johnson, who did Knives Out and Glass Onion, and he actually wrote and directed several of the episodes. But it's a bit of a procedural kind of thing, but it's sort of like its closest analog is Columbo, because you do see what happens, and then the plot unwinds, sometimes with flashbacks, sometimes not. But it's really an interest if you like interesting mystery detective type shows. It really has an odd feel to it, and there's a lot of fun. And Natasha Lyonne is really good in it.
Yes, if you like Die Mommy Die and Goy Band, Girl Most Likely, Girlfriend's Day,
Peacock, not Paramount. Okay, Peacock.
the Smurfs movie.
Mm-hmm. And it has his name is escaping me at the moment.
Benjamin Bratt, Simon Helberg,
the Beast from the Linda Hamilton Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
Ron Perlman.
oh,
There's Ron Perlman in a couple of episodes. It has Simon Helberg in a couple of episodes from Big Bang Theory and other things. It has a lot of interesting guest stars. They're very, I think, because Rian Johnson's reputation is such that people want to be associated with his stuff now. He has some really surprising names that appear in small roles in different episodes.
No,
I like those directors.
They got rid of the free option for Peacock. Am I right about that? Free cock is no longer around.
I think they may have. Yeah, it's okay. It'll merge into something else within 2 years.
Yes, this is true.
Yes, when it actually is the size of a pea.
And really, most of the peacocks you see are peahens, actually.
So I'm pretty sure that Brittany's comments have to do with Pride and Prejudice. Did you bring these up? This bro, I love this movie as a kid.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't Kindergarten Cop?
Maybe Kindergarten Cop. That's the movie we're talking
Might be
about.
Kindergarten Cop. That's a movie I could see someone loving as a kid.
And also being traumatized by?
And I was being traumatized by, yeah.
You saw Arnold
baseball bat.
Schwarzenegger's face like that.
It's the close-up of the kissing, isn't it? It's a little too much.
Oh, that's what it is, yes.
It is. It was a little too much.
It's the cops kissing each other on the lips, yeah.
Oh, man. Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines never kissed.
At least Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't
that
kiss
just
any
ended up on
kids.
the cutting room floor. That's in the director's cut.
Probably. That's the bonus footage. All right, Dan. Are you ready
Yes.
for your big announcement? Oh, man. Listen to this.
Well,
It's available on Tubi for free.
Tubi.
Or not Tubi.
Tubi, do.
Oh,
It
boy.
is to be or not to be. No, it's not. The opening of my comedy special.
Oh, here it is.
Oh boy.
Yes. This is proof you can enjoy the art and not enjoy the artist. Annie Hall is my choice for next week.
Okay.
There it is. Annie Hall, 1977.
You could have gone so many ways. You could have gone a Woody Allen movie. You could have gone a Joss Whedon movie.
on
Kevin Spacey
Fubo.
movie.
It's on Fubo as well. Hoopla.
See Tubi. Tubi's free with ads. Hoopla, I don't even know what that is.
That's the one where you basically doing a digital rental from a local library.
Oh.
Still the shortest movie to ever win Best Picture, I think.
And the shortest actor.
One
It
day
is
to
an
be.
Academy Award-winning film, and the opening of it is what inspired me to do the opening of my special the way I did it with Scott. The beige background.
Don't blame this movie. No, I'm kidding. This is a joke.
Wow.
I know Eric had so much fun with our prior Woody Allen movie.
I do love me some Woody Allen.
You weren't around, Scott. We watched, was it Take the Money and Run?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Eric loathed it.
Oh, it wasn't my film.
The worst movie I've seen Woody Allen in was the first Casino Royale.
Well, that wasn't his movie, though. He was just acting in it.
Truly. That movie still has the most beautiful poster of any James Bond movie, but it's also the worst James Bond movie. So
Let's see. Eric gave Take the Money and Run a 35.
35. I remember very well.
No, we're not scoring, but I'm curious what you would score Annie Hall.
Well, honestly, Annie Hall gets amazing reviews over at Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it was a massively critically acclaimed film.
I like that the audience score is now the popcorn meter. The popcorn.
Yes.
That was the movie that made Diane Keaton a star.
Yeah.
that was the movie that beat Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Emphasis on the wars.
I went to see Star Wars. It
Turning
was a
into
good movie.
Christopher Walken.
If Jackie Mason were doing this
Oh,
podcast.
Jackie Mason.
Screw you guys.
No, I believe I have seen Annie Hall before. And
I
you,
think
sir,
you
are no Annie Hall. I'm sorry.
For some reason, I feel like we watched Annie Hall on the show, but we didn't.
We
But
definitely
I think
did
we
not.
might have watched it during the stream back before we did a movie show. We might have been something I watched and we talked about. Or you might have watched it as well.
I don't know. I do remember watching it, but I don't remember anything about it. It obviously didn't stick with me. But we'll see if this time it's a little more sticky.
I will say, Dan, I'm of the same ilk. I'm not going to let Kevin Spacey's issues keep me from watching and enjoying The Usual Suspects. I'm not going to let Joss Whedon's issues keep me from enjoying Firefly. You have to, now going forward, if studios continue to give toxic people work, that may be something that's more problematic. But I don't let it. I just have to separate that out.
Right.
Yeah, it's like how we get what we know about hypothermia from certain experiments. Like it's still helping the world somehow.
Yeah,
So
I used to
just forget about who
go to a
discovered it.
church with a guy who was one of these soldiers that they stood up when they would do atomic bomb experiments to see the
Sorry,
effect of
Eric.
radiation on soldiers.
Hyperthermia is to R. Kelly as no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow.
I believe I can fly.
It's the SATs for 2024.
Now, there's another tie-in with Woody Allen and my comedy special.
Dan, where is your comedy special available since you're doing a shameless plug?
It's available on my website, danrosemer.com. It's totally
that's
free.
fantastic.
Takes you
That's
right
what
to the
we need
YouTube
to
link. We crossed 20,000 views this week.
Whoa.
All the clips from it were over 100,000 views with all the clips in the special on YouTube and on TikTok and Instagram. Anyway, enough about my plug. And I'll be at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank on Wednesday night. In beautiful downtown Burbank.
Burbank.
The stage that we perform my comedy special on is called the Hot Dog Stage, named after Frank Buxton, because we're in the Frank Buxton Center, named after his TV show called Hot Dog that starred Woody Allen.
Whoa.
And Jonathan Winters and Joanne Worley.
I love
It was a
Jonathan
kids
Winters.
show.
Huge Jonathan Winters fan.
And Woody Allen was one of the stars of it. It's one of the only TV shows he did, if not the only TV show he did.
That he was actually in he didn't write.
If you type in Hot Dog and Frank Buxton on YouTube, you can actually watch an episode.
Wow.
That's all.
Oh,
Crazy.
and Scott, speaking of Casino Royale, the original Casino Royale, of course, David Niven is who Ian Fleming had in mind when he was writing James Bond. It's just that by the time they got to the films, Niven was too old to do the part.
I thought it was Christopher Lee.
No, I'm pretty sure it was David Niven. Yeah.
Let's see.
It's already guessed.
Mind you, Lee could pull it off. He's a little tall, but Lee could have pulled it off.
Well,
we have yet to talk about a James Bond movie here.
I know, it's one of the big series we've not touched. I mean, can you think of any other series that has gone as many films as Bond? I can't imagine there are any.
Police Academy.
Other than maybe some of the real pot boilers during the 30s when they would just crank them out like 4 or 5 a year in the same series.
I mean,
Like-
Disney's Star Wars is slowly but surely catching up.
Those aren't movies.
Thank you. I needed to hear Eric say that.
That's right.
You could definitely argue that James Bond is the most successful franchise in movie history. I mean, I know the Marvel MCU has probably now made more money as an aggregate, but not just for money, but for longevity. And some of them were not, but some of them were also critically acclaimed too. It's not just money minting.
Some of them got Oscar nominations. Some of them made technological
And
breakthroughs.
They need to make another one fast to put the sour taste of that last one out of my mouth, because that was just awful.
Quick comment from my mom, which we mentioned during Take the Money and Run, but she said she's seen Annie Hall, most of his movies she's seen. Take the Money is from 1970. She laughed so hard watching that. And if you remember the story, she was seeing at the theater in Beaver Falls. She laughed so hard she fell out of her seat, and she was pregnant with me. Whacked me on the side of the chair
that explains so much.
during a Woody Allen movie.
Right on your funny bone, Dan.
That must have been it.
All right, so I'm going to ignore some of the Asian releases that are on this longest running film series franchises.
Pokemon.
Scooby-Doo comes in with 48 movies.
Oh, direct to video. Direct to video.
Animated too.
Godzilla comes in
Okay.
at 38.
That's more legit.
The MCU at 34. I'm looking for ones. The Cisco Kid, 28 movies. James Bond, 27 movies. Pokemon, 24 movies. But again,
Hey, how's Fuzz?
you know, Digimon.
Ernest saves whatever.
How many movies did Digimon have?
Digimon, 20 movies for Digimon.
One was too much. I'm just saying, as a kid who saw the first movie, how dare you, Digimon?
This is the room I am in right now.
Oh, wow, look at that.
How long has that been?
You
there?
do know how to
That's
decorate.
been there for a good number of years.
Now, if we're counting all of the movies that featured the Mummy, including the Mummy, the Scorpion King, the other Mummy movies, 19 Mummy movies, Spider-Man, 19 movies, Mickey Mouse, 17, Batman, 17,
Abbott and Costello.
Winnie the Pooh has been in 15 movies. There have been 15.
No, there's some big differences here, though, because if you talk about something like The Mummy, that's a bunch of different movies from a bunch of different studios over many years, over a public domain probably property.
Right.
Whereas
85 years and 10 months.
Whereas James Bond, with the exception of Thunderball, well, not Thunderball, Never Say Never Again, and Casino Royale, those are the two outliers, has been, the same canonical, the Broccoli family in one, configuration or another, calling the shots for the whole run, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so top 10 highest grossing film franchises. How many can the three of you name out of the top 10?
Star Wars.
We can get here.
Yeah. MCU, obviously.
MCU is number one. That is correct. $31 billion on 34 films.
I'm guessing Star Wars.
Star Wars, number 3.
All right. What's better than Star Wars and Avatar?
Batman might be there.
No, Avatar's just 2.
Avatar, 15, not in the top 10.
Would Batman be there?
Batman, number 10. Just holding on. 17 Batman movies.
Yeah. Ice Age is probably in the top 20.
Which one?
Medea?
Ice Age.
Ice Age, not in the top 20.
How about Medea?
Medea, not.
Oh, Medea's got a lot of movies.
Not in the top 20. Highest grossing of
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. That's a good one. Yes, the Middle Earth movies, number 12, though. Not in the top 10.
All right.
Okay, close.
Highest grossing.
It suddenly turned into game night. Let's see.
Minions.
It did. Minions. That's an interesting choice. No Minions in the top 20.
Thank God.
Oh, come on. There's some big ones here you're not thinking of. Well, the one that started this whole conversation.
James Bond, yes.
James Bond, number 5. There it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're going way back.
Tarzan? Or that's so old. It depends if you adjust for inflation.
Nope, no Tarzan. Now,
If you
some of
adjust for
these
inflation,
are
Tarzan
smaller portions of larger franchises.
Oh. Shoot. Superman.
Superman, no, but think larger.
Bigger than Superman?
Well,
no, the DC extended universe.
There it is. Number 9.
Oh,
The
for
DC
goodness sake.
extended
Yeah,
universe.
it's less cohesive than the MCU, so it's hard to think of them as okay.
Well, I was about to guess the Titanic animated musicals, so I guess that was the next logical choice.
No
Guys,
Tarzan.
there's a trilogy of them.
All right, 10. 10 is Batman. 9 is DC extended universe. 8 is Fast and Furious.
Oh, that makes sense.
7 is the X-Men. 6 is just the Avenger movies, just the 4 Avengers movies. 5 is James Bond. 4 is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Oh, of
Three is
course.
Star Wars. 2 is Spider-Man, which really shocked me. But out of the 14 Spider-Man movies, which that number seems really high to me. But yeah, there you go. That rounds out, and then MCU as the number 1. So
that's right, because they had to keep putting out Spider-Man related material.
Well, they're counting Madam Web. So
yeah, I was gonna say people just did not see Madam Web because it was good.
Yeah, if they lose money, do they count against it?
Do they count prospective?
There aren't enough movies because The Hunger Games was very successful, but it's only 4 movies, right?
And that's number 20. Hunger Games is number 20. So it did make the list. Awesome. Well, I think we've wrapped up an hour, and it's been tons of fun. And so next week we will be talking about Annie Hall. In 2 weeks we will be talking about Oppenheimer. So
now, what year was Annie Hall? That was 1977. 77. Okay.
Well,
Star Wars.
Depends on if you like 7s or 7s.
Oh,
going to be. Dan's going to work on his
bad impersonations.
Dan's going to work on his neuroses for the next week.
I don't need to work on that. I'm in LA.
So please like, subscribe, do all the things, and join us next week. You know how this works. We want to see you back here again.
And next week I will give a talk about recommendation for the movie called Being Robin.
Oh,
Becoming Robin.
What's it called? Being Robin.
What is it?
It's called Being Robin.
Being Robin. Yes, I'm going to go see that tomorrow night, and I'll talk about it next week.
Does it have the theme song? Being Robin. Tweet.
Cuts.
Tweet. Tweet.
You're already planning on this being your recommendation?
No, but I'm going to talk.
He's going to love it anyways. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you back here next Monday night. Good night.
Until next time.